Now, it's time for the Neighborhood Connection.
We've had a lot of great questions on pipe repair, and today we're going to tackle those. Let me show you the first one here with sprinklers. It's kind of interesting. When we're dealing with PVC pipe, which is what this is, sprinkler repair gets a little bit interesting because what happens is let's say you have a fitting like this where the pipe comes up out of the top going to your sprinkler, and this gets kicked around and gets broken right there. Well, if this is a long run, I've got to sit here and dig this back feet so I can get some new fittings in, because how this pipe comes in is you actually have to slide this in. So I got to have movement. So here's the secret to this. First off, I'll come in and cut the pipe off right here, and then I will glue this on. And let me show you how PVC pipe glues, if you've never done this before. First, we have primer. And we start out with the primer here and put a little bit on each fitting here. So I'll just show you. This is purple, so you can actually make sure that you've primed it. Put that down here. I'll get my fitting. We'll prime that. We'll get this out of the way. This purple stuff stains, so be careful with it. It will go everywhere. And then I'm going to put some glue, and this is a universal glue. Now, there are new glues out there that have primer and glue all in one. And I'm just going to put glue on both of those, put that back away. And this is just a push to slip here. And I give it a little turn, and that's glued together. But connecting those other pieces of the pipe is where it gets interesting. And this here is my fitting of choice. This is an expansion fitting. And what I can do is I can get it in here in the hole, slip this into here after I've glued it, and then when I want to come into this other piece, I'll just grab a connector, glue it on this side, glue it here, and then I can extend this out and fit it up to it, so I'm not digging for feet. And if I'm a couple feet underground, that makes for a big project. This is a great way to fix sprinkler pipe. Now, to be honest, people do use this out there for, for water pipes, for drinking water. It's not my favorite. I'd replace it. This stuff is NSF rated on this, but not all of it is. So if you're doing a well or something, be careful which PVC pipe you use. Now, that kind of handles the sprinkler stuff. There's another pipe out there that's very common to that, and it's CPVC. This is used in homes in the last 20 years. And this has been something that I've absolutely hated. I've had houses with it. This stuff is so brittle. I've literally been sitting at home watching television, and in my crawl space here, poof, as this broke on its own from a little bit of pressure fluctuation. So whenever you can, take this out. There's been a ton of class action lawsuits and a lot of companies going out of business. In my experience, this has been a nightmare to have. So first, if I've got a broken piece of pipe like this, and I even want to do a temporary fix, I can come in here with my pipe cutter and then cut off and get a clean end. If it's busted up like this, you never want to do anything with that. You want to start out with something fresh. So I'll go through here and I'm going to cut this pipe. And how these pipe cutters work is they've got a little disc on them, and then go around and keep tightening it. And we'll go through and cut this. It takes a minute, especially on the thicker copper pipe. And we go through and cut it. Now, the cool thing with this is we'll start out with a fresh end. When we get a fresh end like we have right here, then you can use one of these push to connect fittings on it as a temporary fix. Now, there is one that's a kind of a new one that's out there. These are these slip to fit ones here. So what I can do is I can slip this end in here, and then I can use my tool. They come with these little shark bite tools. These don't work. Get one of the bigger fittings like this, and you can slide it over here and then slip this in. This gives us some slip so we can get the pipe in here. And these you have to fight. And now I can get it in here, and then I can slip the other one in and move this back. And that way you can slide it over the broken spot. That's one way to do it. Now for me, anytime I do a fitting connection on this, I do a sweat connection. Let me show you how. Because anytime I'm going to go from copper to something else, I don't want to use one of these shark bite fittings. I'm going to show you how to do a sweat fitting here on this. Now, if we come over here, if I'm going to convert over to PAX, I'm going to start out with this piece of pipe right here. And let's say I'm going to go to a threaded fitting here so I can go to PAX. I can actually come over here with a piece like this, put a male or female end on it, and do this. So first off, I'm going to start by just cleaning up this end here, because all of our fittings, when we sweat pipe, this isn't that hard to do. All you need is a few simple tools. Every fitting has to be perfectly clean, and I mean perfectly clean. We need to get it all fresh copper like this right here. This needs to be just beautiful. And so I'll clean this up. I'm going to clean out the end here as well. Make sure I don't have any burrs in it. And then even though this is a brand new fitting, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to make sure that I have every little piece of new copper, because I'm basically going to be sweating these two pieces together. So let's get this all cleaned up. So now I've got that clean. Even brand new fittings, you want to clean them up. And then if I've got a problem like on a piece of pipe right here, I can take an emery cloth like this actually and tear this off. And this is another way to do it. If you don't have that tool, you can do something like this as well and get the same thing accomplished. So you don't really have to have this special tool. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start out with flux, and we're going to flux this up right here. Now this is the stuff that helps us take these two metals and put them together. So I'm going to put a little bit on here, and I'm going to cover this. I don't want to glob it on there. I just need enough to coat it. So I'm going to get it on here, and then I'm going to get it all inside this fitting. Get that all on the inside. Okay, let me cover this up. And so then I'm going to sit here and get these pushed together. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to grab a paper towel here just to get this cleaned up. Kind of get the excess flux out of the way. Now at this point is when we're going to get the torch out. This is where we have a little more fun. So this is all about heating this up. And here is our lead-free solder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this nice and hot here. And once we start to get it hot enough, we will see this will start to suck right in there. See how that goes around the outside there? And it will pull itself into that joint. Off the excess. And there we've got a nice sweated joint. That is going to be something, there is not a more solid connection than that right there. And then from there you could actually go over into PEX A, which is what this is. And you might have seen us talk about this stuff before, but I really like PEX A because how this works is I can actually slide this over the end of this. And this is a flexible PEX fitting here. So I can actually go into this right here to convert it. And this is where plumbing is easy. I can literally come in here, get this expanded out, and the tension of this is going to hold that fitting right there. And then I can go to any other piece down the road. Why I don't like using these fittings on this is because these are just a couple bucks. These can be pretty expensive. So even though this holds so much better, PEX A is my favorite way to go. And then you can plumb the entire house with this stuff, and it's flexible. And when it expands, like if you have a freeze, it'll go back to memory. That's why this works so well. So this is really how I really want you to fix all your plumbing pipes around the house. If you got galvanized, go to PEX and you'll be good to go. And that's how you fix that broken pipe.